We are back with the Friends foster kittens, and I wanted to just give everybody a little update on what's been happening in the last couple of days. First, I want to say how incredibly thankful I am for all of you for giving me a little bit of time to process kind of what's happened. 2 days ago on Thursday, we very unexpectedly lost one of our friends' foster kittens, Joey, and it was so fast and it was just a total shock. And I've spent the last couple of days kind of processing everything. On Thursday, I came in to feed the babies and I noticed that Joey was really lethargic. I picked him up, I put him down. He didn't move at all. He had no interest in eating. He wasn't interested in drinking. I even pulled out a churro treat and he had no interest in that at all. He seemed dehydrated to me, and just from feeling him, I could tell that he was colder than a kitten should be. I called the foster coordinator of the nonprofit that I foster these guys through, Perfect Love Cat Rescue, and she told me to take him straight to the vet, so that's what we did. One of my best friends rushed over here to help me. The 20-minute ride from my house to the vet was honestly terrifying. He was just limp and lifeless, and he just seemed to be kind of going in and out of consciousness. My friend was doing a really great job of holding him and keeping him awake and alert until we could get to the vet. And as soon as we got to the vet, they whisked him off to kind of run some tests. As I suspected, he was very dehydrated, but they said his blood glucose was okay. His temperature was low, so they put him on a warming protocol and they were giving him some sub-Q fluids. At that point, everything had just happened so fast, and they told me that they were going to keep him for a few hours, so I should go ahead and head on out, and they would call me when he was ready to be picked up. Like, they expected for me to pick him up that afternoon. So at that point, my friend and I left, and a couple hours later, our foster coordinator was actually in that area, so she went ahead and went over to the vet just to check on him. At that point, they had gotten him warm. They got his temperature back up to almost normal, but he was not maintaining his body temperature on his own. The foster coordinator called me and basically said, you know, it would be really expensive if we put him at an emergency vet overnight, but I'm really afraid that if you take him home or that I take him home, something will happen to him in the night, and we just need someone with more experience to watch him overnight. I immediately said, you know, our community loves him, and I think that if it came down to it, they would help us pay for the emergency vet to watch him overnight, because at that point we truly thought it was just going to be getting him rehydrated and getting him warm, and he would be coming home. Our foster coordinator transported him from the regular vet to the overnight emergency vet, and very shortly after arriving at the emergency vet is when Joey passed away. And it was just incredibly shocking, and I was driving when I got the text and I had to pull over. I never got the chance to go to be with him at the emergency vet, so he actually passed when I wasn't with him, and I'm really struggling with that. You know, it doesn't really matter how long these cats are with me, I still feel a great sense of responsibility for them, and of course I feel like I failed him. The coordinator told me that there's something called fading kitten syndrome, which is basically to say, like, we don't know what happened or why his little body just gave out, and it's actually the same thing that we think happened to Boston. Losing Joey has brought up a lot of feelings about losing Boston, and yeah, I just needed a couple days. I will say this, I have always felt so guilty about not being there when Boston passed. I was in Los Angeles at the time, and we live in Birmingham, and it was the first time I had really left the foster kittens. I got them at 4 days old, that group, and I left them when they were 6 weeks old to go and do this work trip, and I felt so guilty that I wasn't there, and that maybe I should have seen something before leaving on the trip, and if I had just maybe paid more attention, even though I watched them like a hawk, then maybe I would have seen something. And this scenario with Joey kind of showed me that even if I had seen something, because I did see something with Joey, and even if we had tried everything, because we tried everything with Joey, he still may not have made it. Don't get me wrong, I still feel very guilty, and I feel this great sense of responsibility for these cats. Even though they're not technically mine, I still take great pride in taking care of them and caring for their well-being. Obviously, when something devastating happens, I feel guilty. But this has shown me that sometimes truly things just happen, and life is fleeting and precious. Sometimes you can do absolutely everything and bad things still happen, and that is just part of rescue and fostering. I did get an update today from the foster coordinator. I asked, what was going to happen with him, if our community could possibly help with paying for a cremation for him, and she did get back to me today that if that's something that we wanted to do, then that would be great. And even though he did not make it, we still have bills from all of the things that we tried to do. If our community wanted to help offset the cost of that for the nonprofit, that would be absolutely amazing. Of course, it's not necessary at all, but if we could get his cremation paid for, I think that would really mean a lot. Of course, it's absolutely not necessary, but if you would like to contribute to the fund for Joey's cremation, my Venmo is over on my profile, and I will put all of that in my records and then send it over to the nonprofit. I also want to say from the very bottom of my heart, thank you to everybody who loved Joey for the time that he was with us, whether you've been with us for years and have seen lots of our foster groups, or if this is the first group you've ever seen. I hope he knows how much he was loved, not just by me, but by all of you here in our community and all of our other foster babies who are just having the time of their lives playing. But just thank you for your love and your patience, and I would not be able to do what I do without all of you and your support, whether that be financial or just being here and watching and seeing what it's like to foster.